Yes. Hey everybody. My name is Jeff, as you guys probably know. Um, and I have actually been, I guess, like in crypto only for I would say only a year and a half or something. I started all of this journey when it was at the peak of the bull market back in 2021 in November. And what got me to it initially was just the hype around DeFi 2.0, Olympus Pro, Time Wonderland, and all those Ponzinomics tokens at the time. And even before that, right, I was a venture capital guy in Thailand working to help early stage founders raise funds. So we invested in, all sort of early stage, seed stage VCs during that time. And, at one point, when I was, working, reading Tech in Asia, reading Tech Source, the, those pages were filled of crypto news, and I was curious what all of this is all about. So that's when I started reading and going through the journey, jumping into the rabbit hole, and stumbled upon Olympus Pro and Time Wonderland. And at that time, I didn't know what it was, but I saw that the APY was like thousands and tens of thousands, right? Put some money in, put like $1,000 in, and to my surprise, a week later it doubled. And that have never happened in my entire life. I've never gambled or invested in something that went up that fast before, and uh, that got me sort of addicted. And by the time next week hit, I started putting in $500 or $2,000 more, and that's when things started tumbling down. And but throughout that journey, it sort of have provided me a glimpse of um, uh, the sort of the the cool things, the innovative stuff in the industry, right? So that got me to read other protocols and sort of explore what crypto is, what DeFi is, and what is all this about. And from that point on, throughout the degening journey, I won some flip coins at different sectors, and I lost a lot as well. And as you know, when it was early, I think January like 2022, Phantom was coming in very hot. Uh, with especially with Andre Cronje, Solidly project. I invested a lot into that. I lost a lot of money there as well. But throughout that I found my edge in finding coins very early, and I was trying to look at different IDOs platform, different platforms, looking at how people launch their projects, right, and which projects or which kind of launch format is successful, and which IDO projects is open to the public as well, because at the time, like majority of the IDOs, they like you need to acquire their own native token and lock up that token, and for 30, 60, 90 days or whatever, and then you would have a chance to get allocation to the new projects, which could pump. And that sort of bars me from entering, because I wasn't really rich, or I'm not really expert with Launchpad, and I don't want to take the risk of staking token at the time as well. So I stumbled upon Pink Sale Finance, which was one of the ideal platform on Binance Smart Chain. They were launching like so many projects, like you, me, like anybody could launch projects within seconds. And it's basically a pump and dump ground for new projects, right? And I looked through hype projects that raised, 100 to 500 ETH successfully, and looked at their price action, look at their TAs after launch. And I found that a lot of these projects, they usually pump within the first hour or so, and then majority of them proceeded to dump right after an hour. Like some the other coins, Some other coins, some would last for a day, some would last for half an hour, some would last for a couple of hours, right? But I found that majority of them pump for an hour. So I proceeded to find and identify like good projects that could potentially gain traction, projects that wouldn't rock. Because like there's no way we would know, right, whether they would rock, or projects that don't have uh, uh, sorry, projects that have proper audits, I guess. And on Pink Sale Finance, if the founders is docs, they'll get it, like sort of a label in there that is docs, and also a label in smart contracts that it's audit. So finding this kind of projects and allocated some of my BNB in there. And my strategy at the time was to find these projects, get in very early, right? And then when the coins comes out, I just take the coin and then I just sell it. Initially, I told you like it will pump within the first hour, right? But what I did was I just dump within the first minute, and that provided me sort of 30% consistent gain across around 7 or 8 trades. So that I built my funds early portfolio up from there. And from then on, I tried to find any, other bigger platform to play around. And I stumbled upon Bybit Launchpad during that time. And on Bybit Launchpad or any other centralized exchange, you usually need to buy the native token as well. So in Bybit case, you need to acquire Bit token and lock up your Bit token to get allocation to new projects that launch there. Um, there's huge volatility risk by buying Bit token, so I didn't buy the Bit token. And beside volatility risk, you only get a very small amount of allocation because you're like, for people like me, I'm not rich, right? I wouldn't be able to acquire a lot of Bit token as well. So my strategy then was to buy the new token that's launching on Bybit Launchpad very quickly, like the first second it launched, and then dump it within a couple of minutes after. And that's what I did with a token called Casta, which was a coin that was shelled very, very hard by the Moon Carl. Thank you, the Moon Carl, for giving me that big bucks there. But yeah, I bought Casta, and then like the first second it launched, right? And then 15 minutes later, I sold it, and I got around 8x out of that single trade. Like I put, I think around 7K or 8K US dollars in there. And then 15 minutes later, I'm getting up like 50 something K out of this trade so quick. And I like that never happened to me before. And it made me, even more addicted to this sort of fast paced identifying gems early, right? And then exiting very quickly as well. And that sort of stuck with me in terms of investment thesis, which I'm using more, in today's in Arbitrum. So not saying that majority of my port I buy and then I flip, but it's a big strategy that ensures that I take profit and then I use that profit to generate return somewhere else as well. Yeah, we'll dig more into details later on, my overall portfolio management and how I'm thinking about, investing in general. Yeah, but yeah.
My
Uh,
God, you're probably one of the biggest DJs we had, dude. I know exactly where I want to take this conversation now. Then, I actually didn't really know because whenever we meet, we just kind of always joke around, right? Like we don't really talk about any of this stuff. So, this is kind of like my first time hearing about your experience in like various different, I guess like DGen farms and like some of these DGen flip plays. So
yep,
that was
100%, 100%.
that was very interesting.